Alrighty. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Family Caucus, where wit, wisdom, and a whirlwind of opinions come together to tackle America's political landscape. As a family deeply rooted in the world of politics, we bring a wealth of experience and diverse perspectives to the table. Each week, we'll engage in lively debates and insightful conversations on current events, hot topics, and more. Ultimately, we'll explore the need for unity, the power of humor, and the importance of challenging the status quo. So whether you're a political junkie or just looking to make sense of the world around you, join us as we navigate the complexities of American politics. Together, we'll inform and retain and inspire each other to become a part of the solution in shaping our country's future. And with that, we'll dive in to today's topics. And excuse me while I get the list of questions up. Thought I had that. So, question number one for today. Well, actually, I just got an article I read probably 10 minutes before this on Tony Blinken saying that this is another critical moment in the Ukraine and Russia war. Russia's turning up the heat as far as a ground attack. Kiev fought off 36 tanks over the weekend in one of the strongest ground offenses yet. As the war enters day 7, seems Russia's not going anywhere. I think that's pretty much clear at this point. So Blinken, of course, saying all of this as the House is holding up a $60 billion aid deal. So, Dad, I'm going to start with you here. Is it time to start looking at peace? Is it time, of course, maybe to strike that check? But, at what point do we need to pivot a little bit as a country and maybe ask for Zelensky to do the same?
The time is now to win the war against Russia. Either you believe in sovereign borders or you don't. Russia invaded Ukraine, a country that has been recognized by the international community for decades. People have got to just steel themselves to the simple fact that Ukraine is wanted by, all of Ukraine is wanted by Russia or by Vladimir Putin. This will not be the last stop on his reconstruction of the Soviet Union. He has said this. His foreign minister has said this. The next stop is Poland. The one after that is the Baltic states. Then you trigger the Article 5 of NATO. Then we go to full-scale war. You have to stop them here and push them back across the border. Then you can get peace. Not until.
Okay. I think, he
Completely
said it to
agree.
Tucker Carlson. Yeah, in his interview, though, that this is the last stop. It's not that he's going to go and invade anywhere else.
Who said this?
Putin.
Putin is lying. Stop. Full stop. He's a lying son of a bitch. He's the one who instigated. They have said this routinely, and they have gone back to history as their reason for invading Ukraine. They have said the same thing about Poland. They are no different. And that's what people have to, this is not the first time. Hitler taught us this lesson in the late 30s. It wasn't just the Anschluss. It wasn't just Sudetenland. It wasn't just Czechoslovakia. Okay. Then. No, stop. If you either believe in sovereign borders of Gaza and Israel, you either believe in the southern border of the United States of America, you either believe in the border between Soviet Union, Russia, and Ukraine, or you don't. That's the principle here.
Why stop at money? Why not go with American troops and American
the American
warfare?
public doesn't want troops on the ground. We've been
I don't
through
want the money to be sent
wars.
either. They're starting to not want the money to be sent anymore either. So if this is about what the American people want, I think it's not necessarily the case.
This is where you have to have political leadership, and this is where leaders have to step up and say, "Sorry, folks, this one is going to be spent here. We are going to make sure, and we can get matching money. We've got a lot of money that's come in from the EU. However you want to get them to. They're already at the table in big numbers, more than we have. But you have to have the United States involved here. You cannot pull back. And China, to their credit, has stayed out of the conflict as well. So this has to be stopped now, and you cannot let Russia win this thing at all.
Okay, so Mike Johnson came out, said, that they're not going to pass the bill until we secure the southern border. That has to be a part of the deal. So we're talking about sovereign borders here. I think it's important that we maybe protect ours first. Mary, what do you think about that? Is it, are the Republicans playing politics here, or, should we put the needs of the Ukrainian people above, the lives and the safety of America?
Well, that's not what they're doing. We're going to be there for Ukraine, and we have to see that through, because Dad is right. I'm sorry, just because Putin said something doesn't mean I'm going to believe him. I'm just not. I'm not going to believe what Putin says. He got a good platform. He wanted to sound like he had his shit together. He doesn't. Let's be honest with ourselves. Just because he was being interviewed by Tucker Carlson doesn't mean anything. Did he sound more lucid than our own president? For sure. That's all it showed me. You can have sovereign borders in Ukraine, you can have sovereign borders here. You can do them simultaneously. And actually, the fact that we're not doing it, I think that's the problem the American people are having, is that we're willing to do everything for Ukraine, but we're not willing to do it for ours.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think it's an either or, it's a both and
And
situation.
why are we not doing both and?
Because
There's a
domestic
finite amount of
politics.
money in the world, and there's a finite amount
Is
of money
there?
in our budget.
Since
So
when?
why not make it a cool 100 billion? Why not make it like these are half measures? This is what I've always been arguing about the Ukrainian war, is that we seem to be so committed to half measures. Why not just commit to the whole thing?
Well,
Because we're
because
afraid that NATO's going to let Ukraine in. It seems that that's going to be the case anyways. And Article 5 is going to be like, let's just get to the chase. We're just hoping that the Russian oligarchs are going to turn on them based on sanctions. We're nearing day 800. I don't think that that's going to ever come. So these are the paths that we're coming to a fork in the road, and it's time to make a decision. You guys are saying go all in. I'm saying go all in then, but we're just continuing to just throw money at a situation, and it's not getting any better.
We're putting a
Well, I
Band-Aid
can't
on a
speak-
situation that we didn't have a handle on from the beginning. We're putting a Band-Aid on a situation that, I'm sorry, we should have blown Russia out of the fucking water right at the beginning. Absolutely.
There it is.
Push
There's
them
the war.
back.
No.
There's war. There's World War
Yes.
III.
No. You have
We're already
to.
headed there. Go ahead.
In my estimation, going all in would have created a nuclear war.
Not all in as in like us boots on the ground, but if we want to give them money, why did we give them more up front? We didn't take it seriously.
We took it seriously, but we have to have the capability to produce what the money is actually paying for. We have to be able to deliver the goods. Joe Biden has done a modestly good job here balancing this out, but in the grand scheme of things, he's not been as aggressive that I think they should have been. I think we should have been a lot more aggressive years ago. A lot of this goes at the feet of Barack Obama. Ukraine should have had, fighter jets a long time ago to defend itself. These are defense measures that they should be allowed to have. Ukraine is causing a lot of problems in Russia. Putin's not on great solid ground back home. And the more people they send to die, the worse it's going to get. He's taking Cubans now and sending them to the front lines, and they're dying. And they're just going to institute a tax to pay for this. So the cracks are starting to show in Russia, and you need to keep applying international pressure and every chance you can. You just can't let this continue. You got to push them back across the Ukrainian border, and then you can sue for peace. But think long term. What's Russia going to look like in the international community after this is all over? Oh, it's okay, no big deal. Give me a break. They're out.
Well, I think that they're going to go all in right here. This is 36 tanks. They're going to start bombing everybody and everything.
They can't
and
afford
then
it.
It's like we're just waiting for it to get bad enough before we do something else. I'm just saying, make it a cool 100 bill, make it a cool 200 bill. If this is all fake money anyways, and we're so committed to this cause, then just throw all caution to the wind. Let's get in there. Or not.
Well, I think
that's the thing.
I think it's an overstatement, but it's not too far off in its direction relative to committing to win the war. You can commit to win the war against Russia. You can commit to win the war against Hamas. You can commit to win the border war against the cartels. You can commit to it. It takes leadership. And it takes both parties coming together and getting their shit together and saying, we're not going to tolerate this crap anymore, period. And it's just an absolute failure of leadership in both political parties.
I do agree with that, because you can do both. You can do all of it.
Of course.
All at the same time. It's amazing what we can
money's fake.
multitask as a country.
It takes
the money is
leadership.
fake. We didn't have money for the border. We didn't have money for this and that, but we have money for this war. It seems an endless supply, which is great. I love an endless supply of money. I just, could I get a little bit? Could we get some student debt paid off here and there? Like, if it's all fake, if money doesn't matter, then just do it all.
It's not fake. Money matters. We have had two administrations going to the printing machine and hitting overload, and it has flooded the market with American dollars. We've seen inflation as a result, a distortion of capital markets, and that is hurting America too. However, if we were to adopt balanced budget amendments and get some fiscal discipline, your generation would stand a better chance.
And speaking of our generation, that's going to take us into question number 2, much milder topic, but still one that I wanted to get to last week that we weren't able to get to. And that is a lot of time and attention being spent right now on Medicare and Social Security and what that's going to look like. Just read an article right before this that says, we're on a path Now, in about 10 years, the government's going to have to go down to paying out about 77% of what Social Security, what has been put into it. So I kind of wanted to make it a question and try to get one solution from both of you on this. How would you, what bill would you maybe take to the floor for Medicare? Is it upping the age? That seems to be the last time that we visited this situation was in the early 80s, where the hard retirement age went up to 67. Is that kind of the solution here, or is it trying to privatize and push more people into those retirement funds? I think the number is like only 55% of Americans have a retirement account, but the Social Security is 6% of your paycheck, and 6% of that has to get matched by your employer. For self-employed people, it's 12.2% right off the top that they have to pay in the Social Security. And it seems like if I had a company match at 6% and I'm giving 6%, that is a much better situation for me, of course, but not, for everybody else out there. So what is a solution that you might pitch for Social Security and Medicare?
So I have a hard stance on this, but I also I don't even know if it's a solution. Personally,
We're not here for
I
soft
don't know how
stances.
you
Let's do the hard stance.
right. I don't know how you unfuck the situation. I don't know how you do that.
One?
But I think needs to be made abundantly clear to the American people that you are actually entitled to nothing. You are entitled to nothing. I don't think that people fully understand that. They think that they're entitled to all of these government handouts, not realizing that other countries don't function like this. You don't get to go on unemployment as a career, as you do here, but you are entitled to nothing. So having those kinds of benefits should be a benefit. If they're no longer benefiting our society, time to go. The only person that's responsible for your retirement is yourself. If you didn't plan accordingly, that's on you.
Now, if that happens, I just read this. If we were to pull the rug on Social Security right now and Medicare, 23 million Americans would go under the poverty line. That's what the impact would be, and I think that we would really see the impacts of that elsewhere.
Their entire lives. That's their savings account.
It's going to be there,
right? Okay. As they should.
And
they bought into. Well, they were forced into something. I think it should be, as John would say, "Can I opt out of this?"
Yeah, be able to opt out, and then if you don't want to opt out, but who's not opting out like that? Then everybody's opting out. Money today is better than money tomorrow. People are way short-sighted in that sense, and not everybody has that retirement account. But is it like, can we make a 401k like that? Can we make that a requirement? Can we make it like 3%? You have to do at least 3% of your company will match. And then companies are going to have a lot more money offhand as well, if you did something like that. But it seems like, touching this topic is just, political suicide for anyone. So, well, Dad, what would you do? Maybe pitch. There's
a lot of ideas and a lot of solutions available to us on Social Security. First and foremost, I think your generation needs to educate itself on what Social Security and Medicare actually are and what actually happens, because it's a broad reach. There's two broad reaching programs. We're going to have to increase the for security to go into this program and start drawing it out for retirement, quote unquote retirement. Not that it covers retirement, but it covers a lot for folks. It also covers, disabilities and, widowers. We had a very good friend who was on Social Security after her husband passed away. And that's, it's a safety net for a lot of folks. It does a lot of good things. It doesn't mean that's not worthy of reform. So we have to increase the amount of money going into it. We have to decrease the money going out of it. And there's a way to do that actuarially so you're not upsetting the apple cart. We also have to understand that when the age limit at 65 was created, that was the life expectancy. Life expectancy has gone up by 15 years. So just by definition, you're gonna screw up the math on that. And we have to change that and have to get people used to it. Like, this is reality. You're not going to escape the math on this. Medicare, similarly, if you can afford to pay more into Medicare, you should have to pay more into Medicare. That's not rocket science. That's just healthcare. Is it a great platform? Not really, but you can have a hybrid approach for seniors who want to have some of the benefit of the safety net and not all the cost to be borne by them, because that's when healthcare gets really expensive. But, like Robert Kennedy has also said, we need to attack chronic disease in this country. We have to live healthier. There's just some realities.
God, I love that that's on his platform. Truly.
Yeah, well, it's a great part of his platform, but unfortunately, he's got some other stuff that just won't get him there. But I would like to adopt that if I was starting a political party, wink, I would put that in there. I would go. We have to reduce sugar in our diet. You know, we have to do a lot of things to live a healthier, more productive life. We also have to support, marriages, because that's a healthier way to live. There's just better ways of developing health outcomes that, so people aren't so dependent upon government programs. And it has to be a holistic approach to actually solve these problems. And it's going to look, guys. I say this a lot about your generation. It's going to take a lot of leadership that was currently not being exhibited, and they're going to have to deal with the fundamental math. And you talk about political suicide. Who cares? You don't get paid that much anyway. You get paid a hell of a lot more in the private sector for doing stuff that you're currently doing. So political suicide is actually an income creating reality for these folks, and they have to be told it's okay to lose an election. Just don't lose the future in the process. We're talking about the republic. And we're getting to the tipping point here. If we don't start addressing these problems, we're going to be in some really bad situations, and your generation in particular is going to suffer the most. And I'm willing to be a part of that generation that makes that decision.
Well, I think one of the big things that's being clear over the last 5 years or so is that people in politics tend to love to hang on to power, and that's what brings us to our third question for today. I mean, what? That's all that it is. It's not political suicide. They're just like, I need my 50 years in this.
I'm agreeing with you. That's the reason they do it. But what my disgust,
they're not actually there for the good of the republic. They ran on that maybe 20, 30 years ago, but now they're just like, hey.
They get caught into the business of politics, and they have to be there for something. Like, the world needs them to be a United States Senate. The world needs them to be a U.S. congressman. They don't. It doesn't. And they just have to have a level of lack of ego here to solve the country's problems, or just vote these bastards out of office, because they're not getting their job done. And if they're thinking, oh, it's, political suicide, I mean, son, I wasn't dismissing your thoughts. I'm saying, yeah, that is exactly what they're thinking, but they shouldn't be thinking it, because life is better on the outside than what they're dealing with. And we don't need you there. Power is an illusion. Go look up at the stars at night, I would say to all these people, and say, do you really think you matter that much? You're holding up the works. You're holding up the works for 350 million people. Get on with it. Make the decision you have to make, because the more you put this off, it's like not getting a cancer treatment. The more you let this cancer grow, the more likely it is to kill the host.
Very well said. Very well said. And I think that's going to take us to our third question, which has to do with staying in power too long. It was a article that I read out of The Guardian. It was an opinion piece, basically pitching the idea that it might be time for Sonia Sotomayor to retire. And, basically saying that the writing's on the wall. Trump is up in swing states, and this is just too big of a seat to lose again, to have another Republican fill it. So I wanted to pitch the question to both of you. If you're Joe Biden at the ripe old age of 81, would you call in Sotomayor, who I believe is, let me get her age here, 69 years old?
12 years younger than Joe?
12 years younger than Joe. She was appointed in 2009, but she's like the next on the chopping block, it would seem, not for like death or anything like that, but just that would be the one that he would go to. We don't want it to be another RGB situation. This is what this writer was saying, obviously a Democrat, but saying that this seat is just way too important. If you're Joe Biden, would you make that call and say, hey, I think it's time for us to expedite the process here and move on to another person?
Maybe. Okay.
We'll go to Mary first.
I don't have an opinion on this. And I go back and forth with this whole age thing, but to me, it's the people who put them there that are the real, like, I don't know if it's stated, so the right word, but like, why do you keep putting these people up? Like, I'm sorry. Why is Nancy Pelosi still in office? Miss Ma'am, it's time. It's okay. We can go back home. It's the money. But it's not just the money, it's that we need to go back to like how sugar needs to be kicked. Okay, well, it's all those sugar companies that are pouring money into her campaigns, and that's how she's getting back in. So it's this vicious cycle of feeding this illusion of power.
That it's an appointment for life, and that you have to die on the bench. And I think that's really the mistake that's been made. If any mistakes have been made by the Supreme Court, is that they never seem to step down at the right time when their party is in power for them to be replaced timely. So, Dad, would you make that call and possibly say, hey, we need to start looking around?
No. Is she dying?
I don't believe so, but I mean, I haven't heard much from the Supreme Court lately.
I'm going to pull back here and just think in a political context. No one ever asked that of the men to step down, right? So far, it's been RBG and Sotomayor. I'm just going to put that out there. Do you think you can do that in the Democratic Party and get away with it? No, God, no. Someone's going to say, why is this only the girls that they're asking that people are saying should step down and be replaced? Sotomayor is 12 years younger than Joe Biden. She's younger than Ronald Reagan, Bob Dole, and John McCain when they were nominated.
Is she the oldest? Is she oldest on the bench,
She's
though?
older than Kagan and older than...
She's the oldest Democrat, or the left, or whatever you want to call them, liberals, whatever.
So this has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with her age. It has to do with the politics.
Honestly, I think it's just content creation by progressives trying to figure out something to chat about online because they don't want to talk about Joe Biden's age and his frailties. I mean, honestly, if Joe Biden does that, what is it saying? It's saying, I can be forced out of office too. It would be inordinately hypocritical. You can't go after the base of the Democratic Party, which is suburban women, and expect them to go, let's get rid of Sotomayor. They're going, why? Wow, because we have a chance. I mean, and I think it also
lose the Trump
for the Republic that you're relying on you admit the partisan makeup of the court, and I think that's a problem too. So, in a number of levels, there's A, it won't happen. B, it shouldn't happen, and C, I would never do it.
Okay. Kind of sticking to the same theme here and thinking about the long game, because that's what I was thinking, that article was really asking for, is looking at the long-term health of the party and both sides. This is a question that I got from one of the listeners out there. Do you think Democrats mind losing in 24 to strengthen the party for 28 and beyond? Are they trying to lose by keeping Biden on the ticket? I think the same question might be able to be asked of Republicans, is just, does the loser of 24 actually gain a lot in 28 and 32? Now, I'm not one that's going to take an L for anybody or anything, and I think that there's too much on the line as a Republic to let another 4 years of Joe Biden happen. But looking at the long-term, trajectory of both parties here, does the loser in 24 actually have a better chance on, rallying the troops and sending a better message to their base in 28 and beyond?
So sorry.
Shit, sorry.
That's okay.
We went to you first the last time. I'm sorry.
So,
go ahead.
Well, yeah. I haven't been doing all that well today. My brain's just not all with it. Anyway,
you only have 2 F-bombs so far. I'm kind of disappointed.
I know. I'm just, I'm running out of steam. It's only Tuesday. Anyway, so where I was going with that. One, we have no idea what the political climate's going to look like in 2020. Not a fucking clue. So everyone's going to be focused on this election because I think 2016 scared a lot of people and not knowing what to expect. And so they're going to be grasping for what they can get now. Because 2016 was something that I've never seen in my lifetime, as short as it has been. But I don't think anybody has seen something like that.
No, there's only 2 political parties. It's not like you're tanking a season. You're the New York Knicks or the 76ers, and you're trying to get a better draft pick. There's always a benefit to a win or a loss. But no one's going to get into this thing trying to lose. The Senate's probably going to go Republican. The House, tough to say. That's a toss-up right now. The advantage to the losing party is, they get on with their generational shift. And the problem for Democrats is it's going to be far more progressive than people are ready for. And they're going to have an internal battle like we've never seen in this generation. It's a generational shift. We're going from the boomers to the Gen Xers, and the Gen Xers and millennials, who are going to be the bulwark of the Democratic Party going forward. They're going to be far more progressive, and it's going to be a wake up call for America to say, like, oh, this is what these people really think. Oh my God, this is. I mean, over Easter we had a Trans Day of Visibility instead of Easter for Catholic Joe Biden. I mean, this is the direction of the Democratic Party, and it's not going to sell. It's just not going to sell. There's too many people out there going too far, too fast. Can't be there with you, and they're going to start going in different directions. The Republicans are going to have their own post-Trump reality, and who's going to hold the banner of the Republican Party going forward, in a more populist, nationalist thing. And some of those guys are just not going to be able to sell as well. So there's going to be I think the center is going to grow, and you're going to see a lot more third, fourth, and fifth parties spring up as a result. And with technology, they can get away with it.
Okay.
So they're not trying to lose, or there's no like, oh, this is going to be beneficial, or this is what we're doing. No, this is the last gasp of a generation holding on for dear life in the baby boomer generation. This is them clinging to the illusion of power, and in 4 years' time, they're gonna get trucked
on both sides. So you think
Both
no
sides.
matter
On
who
both
loses here,
sides.
yeah,
I
Both
think we're going to
sides.
have a complete shift in the generations, like Dad said. And I think, I hope both parties get it together, but it's not going to happen. And I do think that Dad's right, that the centers are going to be just more, it's just going to be more broad, because we're going to be like, I'm not that with that guy, and I'm definitely not with that guy.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna get worse.
what am I when I'm just like normal?
So that's
Well,
why Robert
the
Kennedy
Republicans-
Jr. is at 12, right? Nationally, you're seeing the Cornel West and the Jill Steins, a leading Democratic statewide official, tell me, these people are a threat to democracy. No, they're not. They're a threat to your party, because they're taking away your voters who normally showed up in 2020 to defeat Trump, because it didn't show up in 20 in behind the blue wall. So you've got a real shift that's going to occur in this country, and people are going to say, I don't need this shit anymore. I'm just not a Democrat or Republican. The independent self-identified is close to 50% of this country. You can't have a marketplace with 50% not of two brands, and not have that brand do something.
Yeah.
There's going to be a galvanizing force, and you'll be able to go in there, and take bits and pieces that people really like about the RFK, anti-vax, pro-health positions, and say the rest of the stuff is poopy caca. And it is a lot of, you look at his issue set, it's not much more than what the Democrats already have. There's not a lot difference. If you run through his issues, you're kind of like, and the Forward Party was like, oh, we're going to start with ranked choice voting. Well, no, that's not a solution. You need Social Security, Medicare. You need real solutions, because your generation has to be able to vote on its future. And currently it's not being able to.
Well, I think this also goes back to what Dad, you said something earlier about being afraid to lose an election. And I think RFK knows he's going to lose. Like, he's obviously not going to become president, but he can make a big enough of a difference where people are going to be like, oh, shit. People are actually paying attention, or they want different things, or that's what it's going to show. He's not afraid to lose the election, but he is afraid to shake things up and be like, hey guys, these don't have to be your choices.
Exactly. You don't have to win the election to win the debate and change the direction of the country. You have to be willing to run. You have to be willing to get in and step in and be in the battle right now. And I think that's one of the problems that No Labels is having. They're trying to find someone who can win the election. No, the election is winnable. You could put a stick figure up there. You could put an effigy up there, and they would get a lot of votes. And don't make it about a specific issue set. It's about changing the country and saying enough is enough. We need to make the tough decisions. Get on with it. We've been diagnosed with cancer. You need to get in with chemo and surgery and radiation and rip this shit out. It's just, otherwise it's going to eat the host, and it's unsustainable. And your generation really needs to engage in the politics of what's going on and voice its opinion. And you can say, if 4 more years of Biden is untenable and 4 more years of Trump is untenable, 4 more years of either is untenable. 4 more years of a two-party system that's failing this country miserably is untenable. And that's why I'm out. I'm just not going to do it anymore. And, we need a different direction. And if my vote matters, and it does, I think they all do, I'm not going to be a part of that two-party system anymore.
Well, and I think something that we do need to think about as kind of, I think we're, as a society, we are extremely overloaded with decisions. And I think getting our generation more involved it's just like another decision. You know what I found out today? Did you know that the average adult now makes 35,000 decisions a day? And then if we're like, hey, now you need to care about politics. I know you don't, but you need to. They're going to be like, fuck off.
Yeah. No, especially our generation with the phones. It's honestly like one of the best things that I've been trying to do is just to have less phone time. Yeah. Yeah. The more you can get away from your phone and read books and read articles and do other things. Like,
we're going to start regulating that as a society, especially for young people.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's something that we can get into next time, but our time is up today. Thank you both so much.